मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यतः सर्वाणि भूतानि प्रतिभान्ति स्थितानि च यत्रैवोपशाम्मां यान्ति तस्मै सत्यात्मने नमः। ज्ञातज्ञानं तथा ज्ञेयं द्रष्टादर्शनदृश्यभुः कर्ता हेतुक्रिया यस्मात् तस्मै ज्ञात्यात्मने नमः। स्फुरन्ति सिकारा यस्मादानन्दस्य बरेवनौ सर्वेषां जीवनं तस्मै ब्रह्मानन्दात्मने नमः। दिवि भूमै तथाकाशे बहिरन्तश्च मे विभुः यो विभात्यवभासात्मा तस्मै सर्वात्मने नमः। हरि ओम्।
I remember now, Anjaneyulu presented the last time in the last class.
Okay. So apparently I did not ask anybody to do it, I guess.
No.
You didn't? Let me check, because you sent the recording. I just will go to the end of the recording and see who
No,
you
it's
are.
okay. It doesn't matter now.
Okay.
So we can...
No, I now remember that Anjaneyulu did present last time. How about you, Ashwin? You remember?
I joined late last week.
Okay, then you can't even tell me. But I remember now why Anjaneyulu's name is there.
Okay. So we saw in the last week that when Dasharatha refused to send Lord Rama, Vishwamitra got angry, was about to leave. At that time, the Vashishta Rishi interrupts and pacifies Dasharatha, and then Rama was brought to the palace or the Asthan, and he humbly saluted the father and also the rishis. And then Vishwamitra asks Arjuna, Rama, as to the reason for his lack of interest in the world. Lord Rama gives in a humble manner the reason for his disinterest in the world, of almost like acting like a depression. And he gives the various reasons, especially telling how the wealth, the pleasures, all these things are transitory, and how the vanity of life is like a dewdrop on a leaf. So everything is very fickle. And then it is really interesting to see the thought process, how he explains everything and puts it into the words, that why he was dispassionate, not because he was depressed or anything. It is because that he is thinking in the long term that all this is transitory, and what does it take it? Where does it take us? Apparently, whatever the teaching he had from the the Gurukula, and seeing the world after when he went for the pilgrimage, that he realized the transitoriness of the world, and how that there is no real essence in this world, and how the ego of each person destroys the serenity of the mind. And so he says, for all this, the cause is what? Our own mind, which is very unstable. And he goes on to say, what is this craving? The desire for the objects of the world, the wealth and the name and fame, all these things are the reason for our this complicated life, which keeps us bound to the world. And he says in the last paragraph, this craving pierces the hearts of men. It creates the entanglements of the world process. It is the promoter of inauspiciousness. It is like a black demoness, the very embodiment of poverty and pain. So you can say how that this passion is deep rooted in him at an early age. And he continues to talk about the attachment to the body and how we go through the childhood, the youth, old age, and all that, and very elaborate. But we have to understand that even the Swamiji has reduced what is in the original book to more than 50%. So, okay, Ratnama, you want to read?
Okay. Section 18, Denunciation of the Body. Sri Rama continued, O sage, I am disgusted with this body. It is the source of all worldly afflictions. It is the support of craving, desire, disease, egoism, and repeated birth and death. This body consists of blood, flesh, marrow, bone, and ugly entrails. It is the very seat of all misery. Though it is inert, yet it appears to be alive and conscious. It is neither purely spirit nor purely material. This body is very fickle in its character. It is delighted with petty food and drink. It is affected by little changes in the weather. What could be as base and low as the body? It is devoid of any divine quality and is the basis of all grief.
Amen.
Okay. You know, Rama is really disgusted with the body. Now he's talking one after the other. Now it came to the body, how this body is with this cravings, desire, and then all this goes on, even the birth and the death. You know, Rama is really going through in detail what bodies consist of: blood, flesh, marrow, and ugly entrails. And then it's the misery of all of misery. Though it is inert, yet it appears to be alive. And how it really conducts and then makes you think as if it is alive and everything, and want some of those desires to be fulfilled. It is how much it goes after the desire. You know, this is fickle body.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. So Ratnama explained beautifully. Is Sarveshji here today? No. Okay. And
Sarvesh is here, but Sarvesh is not in this room yet.
Okay. Okay. And I'm looking to see, is Veernamma here today? No. Okay, Vijay, you want to read?
You are on mute, Vijayji.
Sorry, which up to which paragraph you read, Ratnama?
I just 64 completed. Please go on.
Okay. Okay. This body is like a tree. Its two arms are the branches. Its two shoulders are the trunk. Its shoulders are the trunk. The eyes are the hollows, and the head is a large fruit. The teeth seems to perch upon this tree like birds. The ear appears like woodpeckers, hands and feet are the leaves. Diseases entwine this tree of the physical body. Beauty is the shade of this tree, which draws the traveling soul into the process of embodiment. This body is neither a friend nor a foe to anyone. No one is really related to this physical body. Therefore, it is vain either to love this body or hate it. The soul takes recourse to the boat of this body again and again to cross the ocean of the world process. Just as a boat must be left aside, so too this body must be transcended when the ocean is crossed. Here he is comparing two things. Number one is comparing it as a tree and different part of the tree. Then he's saying that as a human being, as the body, we can do something good by giving a shade to the person who is sitting, or giving a fruit to somebody sitting down, or we can do nothing, or do not make use of the body. That's up to us. But tree as such is not going to be obstructing anybody, since it is staying at one place. So it is neither to love or not to hate, kind of a thing. Then he takes about the example of the boat again. Boat as a body, and body is, I don't know what is boat. I don't think boat of this body, he says, recourse to the boat of this body again and again to cross the ocean of the world samsara. Just a boat must be left aside. So I don't know, he's talking about a tree is carved into the boat. I don't know, possible. So then he goes to talk about samsara to be crossed, to do what we call as self-realization, or reaching the Atma to Paramatma, or something of that kind. So I'm not 100% clear on the third paragraph, Raghuji.
I don't think the third paragraph is connected to the first two paragraphs.
Okay.
The first paragraph, the first one, tree, is a body. So there are so many bodies, okay? And so it is the soul that takes one of these bodies. That's what it is saying. Beauty is the shade of this tree which draws the traveling souls into the process of embodiment. Okay. So, and we can say the body by itself is no friend or a foe to anyone, and it is the jiva. Okay, it is the subtle body that has likes and dislikes. This is my brother, this is my father, this is my enemy, this is my wife, and all that connected to identifying with the physical body. And then that the same soul, if it wants to get in the samsara, the goal, knowing that I have to cross this samsara and get out, and then it will have no, it transcend the ocean of samsara. That means get over this repeated births. So the body is the boat by which one can realize one's own self as the Atman. That's how I looked at it.
But the only thing is he's keep jumping back and forth. Now the next paragraph, if you start reading, he comes back into the mysterious forest. So
Yeah.
I'm not, and then see on this tree of physical body. So I'm not fully getting what exactly he's trying to say between the boat and the body. Anyway, let's continue.
What I understood, what I understood is, see, body is no use for us, and it is just comparing it is as like a tree, but the boat is actually used as as a vehicle to cross the samsara, and also why it is actually again and again. You may have to do multiple birth to cross this samsara. Then once it is done, it is transferred. The Yeah, then we actually we have to leave the as like once you cross the say river, we leave the boat and you just walk away to our destination. So that is how I understood.
Right. I want to read from the original book the translation of couple of verses. He says, the body is as a tree, having its arms resembling the branches, the shoulder blades like stems, the teeth as rows of birds, the eye holes are like the hollows, and the head as a big fruit. The ears are as two woodpeckers. The fingers of both hands and feet are so many leaves of the branches. The disease as a parasite plants, the acts of body are as axes, that means like a sword filling this tree, which is the seat of the two birds, the soul and the intelligence. So this body as the tree of life is has two birds. One is the individual soul, the other one is the pure Brahman. So that we, in Mundaka Upanishad, we talk about that one. So we'll continue on, and we will see. I think I skipped Sudhirji. Sudhirji, you want to read, sir?
Yes. In this mysterious forest of physical existence, we can live with security and peace. The soul abides in this body like a cat in an empty drum. On this tree of this physical body, the mind continues to play its restless pranks like a monkey. Worries are the flowers that bloom on this tree. Great miseries infest this tree like infectious disease, germs. Craving abides in its hollow, even like a deadly snake. Virtue and vice are the sweet and bitter fruits of this tree. Youth is the transient shade that the tree provides for the traveling souls through the desert of the world process.
You want to comment?
It is just, it is actually continuing on the Guruji's, example, I mean, kind of comparing to a tree, what exactly is it? It's something like, the cat in an empty drum. I mean, I would say that the cat is actually maybe equated to our mind. It is actually just keep running around, and also it is just giving that all our worries are actually something like the flowers. It actually keeps blooming, or because worries we never trees, and it is continuously blooming like a flower. Worries actually keep coming, and infectious disease actually considered as our to the body, as it is equated to the miseries of our life, because trees also get a disease, and uh, virtue and vice are the sweet and bitter fruits of this tree, and right, traveling souls through the desert of the. I know the last one, youth is the transient shade that a tree provides the traveling souls through a desert of the veil process. Maybe, yeah, only the youth, during the youth, when we are actually young, there only you are actually have got actually kind of a freedom, or can actually have can experience the life well, and later part, that is the only period we can actually say that it is something like a shade in a desert, in a short period of time, we can actually have some kind of a solace on that. Otherwise, right, when you are young, you are actually you have to depend on somebody, and giving trouble to everyone. When you get older, that is also the same. In the middle, the youth period is only, period actually have got some relief in a human life. That's what I think.
Yeah. Very good. Is Vishwanathan here today? So, Anjaneyulu is not here. Ashwin, you want to read, sir? Next 3 paragraphs.
Yeah, sure. Hari Om.
Hari Om.
The spirit of desire, Kama, abides on this tree. The vulture of ego rests on its branches, desirous of locating rotting carcasses. Numerous subtle desires emanate from this tree like secondary roots and intertwine to form strong ropes which are difficult to destroy. This body, possessed by its householder, ego, does not delight me. What purpose does it serve, whether it is alive or dead? The senses are like pet animals in the possession of the ego. Craving is the housewife who continues to assert herself in every part of this house. Kama, the spirit of desire, has painted this house in attractive colors. But this body does not please me. This body is supported by the various functions of the chitta, mind. Ignorance and falsehood are the supporting pillars for this physical mansion. Multiple miseries like unruly children continue to keep this body filled with their cries and shrieks. Sleep is the bedroom, lulling the soul in ignorance. The impure intellect is the maid who abides in this house, suffering from the leprosy of evil actions. So here, the body is being compared to a house. So in the previous example, it was compared with a tree. So here it's being compared with the body. It's being compared with the house.
Yeah. Yeah. So you can see the ego, the craving, the craving for pleasures, all these things are the one that keeps us bound to this body. And is the, uh, it is the desire that makes the world look very attractive. So if you don't have desire, however attractive something is, that you really do not look at it or care for it, but it is the desire that makes the object look very attractive and want to be possessed. So, like Lord Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, the desire and anger and the craving, those three, but anger and craving are because of the desire. The desire is the primary cause of the whole problem. So, okay. And Dinesh, you want to read?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
So I start with the seated within this body, correct?
O sage, this body.
O sage. O sage, this body is filled with impressions of the numerous objects of the world. It is crowded and disorderly. Ignorance has spread a thick veil of dust in every part of this physical house. Therefore, it cannot be desired by me. Seated within this body, the intellect, like a housewife, continues to look through the windows of the senses and entertains herself along with her numerous daughters in the form of worries and griefs. Such a body is not coveted by me. At the door of the mouth, the tongue appears as a restless she monkey, always craving for objects to taste.
Yeah.
So, as we were reading, and I was thinking, all that is being said about the body is really true, but at the same time, this is the body that we have, and this is the body that we can use to realize the Lord.
Right. Exactly.
That
So-
is actually that is why that is earlier one of the paragraphs, right? This is considered as a boat. Use it to cross the river, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really up to us to look at it and see what we want to use it for.
Right.
Do we want to use it to satisfy our vasanas, or do we want to use it to advance further in life?
Correct. So whether you want to get worse and continue to have repeated births at lower and lower like animals, or continue to enjoy in this world, living a dharmic life, but having pleasures, or work in this world with dispassion and purify your antakarana and cross this world of samsara. So it's all the three are left to us. So which choice we want to take?
I think it is the language that is totally different in Yoga Vasishta compared to what we have been reading with Gurudev. That is where the difference is here. The core thing that is being taught here is the same, but the way the language is being used is totally different.
Right.
Like the language that Gurudev, at least I remember in the one that Astavakra Gita and all those, the way he says is possessing the objects of the world. There is nothing wrong in possessing the objects of the world, but it's a tragedy if they possess you. So the way he words it, the way he puts meaning of what you're reading, pretty much if you understand, it is the same. But at the same time, the way he's trying to let you understand what he's telling you is a different way. That's all I'm seeing in the language.
Yeah. Particularly in a very disgusting manner.
No, but that is the way it is written, though.
Right.
Even
That's what I mean.
Originally.
So for a reader, it really get the feeling of a disgust for the body, and that is the intent of the book anyway. So one should see the truth of that one. So you want to read Manoma?
Mind, like a rat, has burrowed holes in the body, rendering it weak and sickly. This body is the abode of diseases and is the fountainhead of afflictions. An elephant caught in a bog cannot be saved by a weak person. In the same way, I am unable to save my soul from this marshy existence of the body. This body is interested in everything that is perishable. What have I to do with kingdom, with prosperity, and with the fulfillment of worldly desires? All these are perishable and fleeting. What beauty is there in this body which does not follow the soul at the time of death, but like an ungrateful wretch deserts its own friend and master. Again, talking about, the comparing the mind with the rat and how it burrows holes in the body and makes it weak. And also, you cannot save the soul that is in this marshy existence of the body. And then also talking about in the body, everything is perishable. And of course, he compares at that time with the kingdom and the prosperity and with the fulfillment of worldly desires, what to do with them, because they're all perishable and fleeting. And the beauty, what beauty is there in the body, he talks about the last paragraph that I read, that does not follow the soul at the time of death anyway. So it is not a friend or not the master.
Right. Yeah. So it depends on how we use it, how we look at the body, and as are identified with the body, or look at it as an instrument for our spiritual progress, like a boat. So, Maya, you want to read the next 3 paragraphs, Amma?
Hari Om. This body is subject to age and death. Whether one is prosperous or poor, his body must follow the same rule. No amount of external achievement can make the body secure upon this earth. Therefore, I see no gain in maintaining this physical body. This body is constantly being consumed by the fire of worry. Therefore, it is called deha, that which burns after death. It is cremated or destroyed. But the wise sages burn this body with the fire of knowledge. You want me to read further?
Yeah, one more. Yeah.
Okay. Whence does this body come? Where does it go? Which is difficult to understand. The ways of the body are like those of the wind, flame, and mind. Their movements are mysterious.
Serious.
Mysterious.
Want to
Well,
comment?
again, yeah, Ramaji is still talking about the body, and he's talking about what is good about this. After death, it will burn. So why should we maintain this body, physical body? And then he keep on there, same thing that it will burn after the death.
Yeah.
But the main thing he says in the second paragraph, the wise says, burn this body with the fire of knowledge.
Yeah.
I guess when Gyani gets it, the knowledge, then he does not care for the body. And then, body doesn't mean anything for the wise person.
Right.
So that's what I think Rama is talking about here.
Right.
And then he goes on, it's difficult to understand. And mind is so mysterious and so on. That's all I understood.
Right. Yeah. So the second paragraph is really beautiful. The deha, dahati iti dehaha, that which burns. But if it burns and goes fine, but the mind continues to burn us birth after birth, with the attachments to the world, likes and dislikes. So even virtuous activities in the world performed for heavenly desires, still, you go to the heaven, you get a heavenly body, and then even continue to enjoy pleasures, and then have to come back here to the earth again. And so, even the virtuous activities done for selfish reasons are no good. One has to have that knowledge, vairagya, like Lord Rama has, to use this body for spiritual growth. So,
That's the one thing I never realized what is deha means. That deha, first time I'm doing that.
Yeah,
So
me too. Yeah.
that's beautiful thing. It's really one. Yeah.
Yeah, all the Samskrita words are actually, it comes to existence with some the right meaning, right?
yeah. Padmajam, I guess you don't have the book, you just want to listen, right?
Yes, sir. I'm actually, yeah, I just reached home. I was traveling.
Okay, understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just came.
Raghuji, the third paragraph, right? The ways of the body are like those of the wind, flame, and mind. Their movements are mysterious. What exactly that mean by that? The ways of body are like those of the wind, flame, and mind. Why that? That's a that. Okay. Wind like there's is unpredictable. The body is not unpredictable.
Bodies does whatever the mind does. The mind is the what do you call, the promoter, and the body is the actor. Why he's putting wind, flame, and mind together, I don't understand. Let me read from the original book and see if it makes any sense better. He says in the original book, our bodies are as empty and fleeting as gusts of wind passing over a dusty ground where nobody knows whence they come and where they go. we know not the course of our bodies, their transmigrations, as we do not know those of the winds, light, and our thoughts. They all come and go, but from where and whither we know not nothing. So, just like the what are the thoughts coming and going, we don't know. The same way, where did the body come from? Where is the body going to go? We don't know. So that's what he's trying to say there. So
Okay.
okay, I think Sudhir is supposed to read next three paragraphs.
I am not related to this body. This body is not myself. I am not this body. This body is not mine. He who has attained peace of mind by developing this wisdom is indeed best among men.
Continue.
The demons of craving has thrown me into the ditch of physical embodiment. She has robbed me of all my spiritual treasures. This craving has deceived my helpless intellect. There is nothing in the world that can be considered real and imperishable. This body is of this world. How can there be reality and permanency in this physical body? Alas, people are cheated by this illusory body.
Yeah. To comment?
Yeah, it is actually, as a realized person, once you, a realized person who is actually not going to get attached to the body. That's the first one. And Bhagavan Rama says that he is also one among it, I would say, from this comment. And they say that, this body is not mine. Whomever is actually realized it, considered as a wise man, right? And also then the next couple of characters is basically say that the cravings of this body, the body has got a different requirement, and with that um, uh, actually because we actually run behind to fulfill those craving, we actually lose our spiritual connection or spirituality, basically because we forget about who we are, what we are, and that actually because of our way of life to fulfill our desires.
Yeah.
This is actually, yeah, it says the craving has deceived my helpless intellect. Even buddhi is not going to help us, because normally emotions or the body's requirement actually sometimes take over our own intellect. Even our buddhi says no, we just, okay, forget it, I'm going to have this, right? So that is actually he's emphasizing that. And also they say the body, the nothing in this world, okay, as all everyone of in this room actually know that nothing is actually permanent in this world. Body is also comes and goes, so it is also not permanent.
Right.
And you say that, okay, because of but as this is actually an illusion, and it says that it is actually kind of a cheating, right? Cheated by the body. We think that it is real and we run behind it, and we are actually we are actually living in that illusion.
Right. Yeah. So it looks like Lord Raman knows that he is the self, he is not the body. So apparently he has done the Panchakosha Viveka. That's why he is explaining all these things with various examples. And apparently from the second paragraph, I understand that his mind is still going after cravings. Though the intellect is discriminating and knows that, hey, I am the pure self, I am not this body, I am not the mind, and all that, but that craving is still bothering him and keeping him agitated inside. So that's how I understand it. But at the same time, he knows there is nothing permanent, there is nothing real in this world. So that's why he is having these agitations, and so somebody has to confirm it and teach him exactly what you are thinking in the right direction. And so, what is this world and how to live in this world? That he gets it from the teaching from the teacher. So, okay, Vijay, you want to finish that chapter?
Raghuji, I got the PDF. Can I read it?
Yeah, please go
Uh,
ahead.
Okay.
before
Thank you,
she
Vijay.
before she does that, Raghuji, is
Mhm.
I was just looking at all of a sudden when he comes back to the word craving, he goes to feminine gender. She has robbed me of all my spiritual treasures. So I was thinking, why? So then I realized craving in Sanskrit is Trishna. Trishna is happens to be Striling.
Correct, exactly.
I think the focus and clarity these Swamijis have for each and every word
Right.
has to be appreciated, because you cannot think what exactly they are talking about, why they have done that. And because he looked into Trishna, he understood, and maybe it was in Yoga Vasishta, it was a Trishna or something, and they did okay. They said she. Padmajaji, go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Thank you. Within a short time, this body becomes old and like dewdrops falling from leaves. It falls and dies. This body is sustained by ignorance. I do not condone this body even for a single moment. Those who see durability in the lightning flashes or in the wintry clouds, which are ben- benefit, what is
Bereft of rain. That will be
bereft of, bereft of rain, or in the castles of the mind, they may continue to believe that this body is permanent and durable. But I cannot place my trust in this perishable body. I deem this body as worthless as a straw. Wow. Okay.
to comment.
Um, I think it calls more of it's a body is temporary. Like it will fall off when the time comes, and not
Right.
it's not a sustainable
Right.
thing. So that's what it emphasizes on first paragraph, and the second paragraph is those who see the durability in lightning flashes. I'm not 100% sure I got this straight, but I think what it means is that there there is something beyond body which is more focused of your internal mind and intellect, which is permanent long term.
Right. Even that is relative. That
Relative, yeah.
relatively long term.
Yeah.
And it is that because of the all the cravings and vasanas that perpetuates the getting more and a body again and again and again happens. So, but one has to know that I am that self, and I'm not even that subtle body, the jiva, and has to overcome the cravings while living in this body. So,
But Raghuji, in this world, I really don't know anyone actually have got illusion that the body is permanent and durable, right? Because all we know, even a small kid knows that people get older, and the old people know that people, young people actually is going to become older, and so. I think the people actually kind of forgets that, right? In that particular age, they actually kind of forget that forgetfulness is actually the key here.
say, uh, of course, we are different people have different ideas, but most of us, even if we know that I am not the body, okay, but that identification with the body is so strong, okay,
Mm.
that we still knowing that the pleasures of this world and the name and fame and all that is transient, we still continue to be attached to it.
Yeah.
Do we easily give up all the attachment? No, we don't. Okay, we still look for pleasures. Uh, Particularly the people who don't have that Vedantic knowledge, even at the age of 80, like a man wants to get married again or wants to go and see the movies or things like that, not knowing, hey, now enough is enough, let me do some sadhana. So it's not there. So People want to go for parties, people want to go to movies, or they don't. They just like brahmacharya life, your what do you call duty is to study. The same way, in the time of old age, after 75, 80, our duty is supposed to be for the
Spiritual.
inner study and contemplation. But how much we do, so, and even if we do it, so that's why constant study is important. So
Mm.
So
very
Sudhir,
good.
yeah, I just remember, sorry, Raghuji, I just remembered what Yaksha has asked during that thirst, and all the Pandavas went and drank the water and died, and Yudhishthira was answering Yaksha Prashna. What is the biggest surprise in the world is everybody knows that they're going to die, and they see somebody who's just died in front of them, but they think they are going to live forever.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
this is a good example. You can
yeah,
see that is people, they may be dying very next day or very next minute, but they don't think that. That's how the mind is makes it. Manoji has got a comment. Go ahead.
Yeah, the comment is suddenly I remembered. I think Raghuji also probably remembers that Swarupananji, Swami Swarupananda, one time, maybe a few years ago, he said that, somebody, the next door neighbor died, and the back door neighbor died, and the other side neighbor died. But you sit in your house and you think that I'm not going to die, I'm going to be here. So, simple example he was giving about that. So,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that is just to conclude this one. Sorry. That's why they're talking about. There is one. Um, I forgot what is it called. At the death time, they read one Purana. I forgot what is it. The one which is
Udana,
no, no, no.
Garuda Purana,
Garuda Purana.
Garuda Purana.
Purana,
Garuda Purana.
Purana.
That's what they tell is that, oh, you need to listen to that one. That's which this really talks about why you need Vairagya. And people don't want to read that one, not even for 1 minute or that particular day. And yeah, it's very important. Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry to deviate.
very good. Uh, Sudhirji, continue, sir.
Okay. Um,
Denunciation of the childhood stage.
huh? Oh, yeah. A denunciation of the childhood stage. Sri Rama continued, "O sage, it is difficult to acquire human existence. Having acquired human embodiment, childhood is spent in misery and pain. A child is helpless. He is subject to manifold miseries. He is unable to communicate with others. Most of the time, he is dull witted. His mind is constantly desirous of fun and frolic. When he is unable to acquire the petty objects of his desire, he enters into a state of profound humiliation of spirit. All these defects abound in the childhood stage of human embodiment."
Go ahead and read one more.
Like a fettered elephant, the soul is tied to this childhood stage. A child cries and weeps for no apparent reason. He is constantly dependent upon others. He acts like birds and beasts in the forest. In fact, this childhood stage of life is filled with misery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is always, I always thought about that because what we do, why we actually don't have any knowledge or actually a memory of any of this thing what we did unless until your mom says something that you did those stupid thing, otherwise we don't remember any of it. But here I think maybe Bhava and Rama is actually explaining the helplessness or else of a child, and which is actually required some always some help. Even there it is just a it's the helplessness of the baby is actually explaining it, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It is as like a fettered elephant, right? It is actually tied to it, and it cannot go anywhere. So and also it actually I think one thing I understood that is a baby a baby actually cries for if he's not getting what he wanted. So there also he's not leaving his desire, but he wanted to gather it, and he uses that as a instrument to get things done. There also, as a baby, is not leaving that desire. I think we are actually getting this accustomed to this desire even from the early age, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Vijay, continue, sir.
Raghuji, I got a quick question. I'm not understanding what is the childhood part is comes out, because childs or babies are considered as very close to God because they don't have that kalmasha in their mind. So they are considered. Sometimes people say that they might remember their pura janma for a very small, very young age. Then they, because of the world's influence, they will start forgetting it. But here he is focusing on the child as a miserable stage. Do you have any idea why he is?
That one I feel is referring to infancy, like the child, like a newborn baby or a 6 months old baby. Okay, he's urinated and fecal, everything. He's lying in the dirt, and he doesn't know how to express. Okay, and he's hungry. Only thing he knows is to cry. So that's what I think he's referring to. And then, of course, as you grow up to 2 years, 3 years, 4-year-old child, okay, then what are you interested is in what? Food and toys. Okay. When you're hungry, you want to eat, and you want your toys, the toys the other person has, and if you don't get it, you cry. That's the only way you know. So that's why I
One
think he's
more.
referring to both infancy and childhood. So
One more thing, you see the baby's body, right? Baby's body cries, for food, and everything is actually the body is craving actually. That is actually the craving, and that actually convert into the desire of it. So that is all. Can we just think in that direction also, Raghuji?
Uh, I don't know. At that age, I don't know if it has vasanas expressing already. Only thing I could think of is it sees something, an object, it likes and wants to play with it, and if it doesn't get it, it starts crying. And
Yeah,
does it
yeah,
have an imagination? Oh, I want that bicycle, things like that, which it cannot see. That I don't know.
Yeah, a German company is actually, I mean, came up with an app, and it will give because baby is actually really speaking, but no, our issue was baby is telling something, but we could not understand. We cannot understand. So now they came up with and if you go that phone close to that baby, that app actually will convert what actually the baby is looking for. So that means the baby is actually looking for something. And so, baby is a milk or baby, and say stomach ache, then baby actually produces a different cry. Each cry, they actually, what is that called? Indexed it,
Analyze it.
categorized
I
it,
see.
and give it. So there also that baby's desire is
Could
coming.
be.
That's why I came to it.
Yeah, because of our ignorance, we think that the child is crying for no good reason or for some reason, but we cannot decipher why. So very good. Vijay, you want to continue, sir?
Yes, a child is constantly afraid of water. Sorry, I
The
think it's
mind.
one earlier trigger. The mind of a child is extremely distracted. It is filled with petty desires. It undergoes intense suffering when the desired objects are not realized. Therefore, this childhood stage is painful. The child is constantly afraid of water, fire, and the wind. He is subject to unknown accidents at every step. He involves himself in harmful sports and painful affairs, but his mind is unable to understand his errors. Just as ours remains hidden during the day, so the impurities and the defects of the mind remains hidden during childhood stage.
Yeah.
You want to continue or you want?
It's up to you.
Okay. Those who consider the childhood a period of life as a desirable and enjoyable are devoid of reasons and sense. The mind of a child is constantly restless, as if it were on a swing. The mind is 10 times more restless during the childhood than at any stage in life. Even like a street dog, child is tempted by a piece of food. He is easily irritated, he is easily persuaded to follow a suggestion. He even enjoys the filth. He is easily upset. His face is like the earth during the rains, muddy with the tears and dirt. I agree with all these things they are talking about.
Yeah.
But the thing is, if you ask, if I ask, if anybody asks me, was the best part of my life is the childhood. I don't know why they are saying it is not. Because I was poor, we didn't have nothing, but happiness was there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are talking about my body and the persons next to me is another body. Those two are two bodies, but Atma is one and the same. That's a good example. So also given sometimes is one kid is plays and enjoys with another kid, irrespective of color, creed, and religion and whatnot. They don't even differentiate. But here it is not says that. But I do agree with that. Is uh, the mind is constantly restless. That's true because that maturity is not there, and then they ask for small things, understandable, and tempted to buy a piece of food and all the good stuff. No doubt of that. All those things are agreed.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is they think that that particular thing is still unhappy time. I don't know that part.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
yes.
yeah, it is relative. It depends on what you're talking about. I like that paragraph, that sentence. It says the uh, the impurities
Yeah.
and defects of the mind remain hidden during childhood stage.
Yeah, that is,
Okay.
I want to about
So
ask that.
only when you grow up, the intellect manifests and your hormones kick in during the what do you call teenage years and all that. Then all your other what do you call vasanas manifest. But until then, you are happy with what, like you said, you are happy with whatever you have, and you enjoy the little toys and mud and play in the water and all that, and you are happy. To some extent, that's a happy stage of life in a way. But it is completely a waste of time if you look at it in a spiritual way. So that's why they say exactly how much time of our 100 years, assuming 100 years that we live, that we really use it for our spiritual growth. Because one third is spent in sleep. So one third is gone. Okay. The probably 20% in old age we spend in just wasting and looking back and say complaining. I didn't do this. I didn't do that. So that way 50% is gone. Okay. And if we take our childhood, okay, another 10% is gone. So like
Got
that,
it.
if you really look at it, eating, pleasures, and worrying, and all those, if you take those things, only probably about 10% of our 100 years, about 10 years, is the time that we really have for our sadhana, if we really work at it. So. But of course, but people like Shankaracharya, Vivekananda, that is different. Though those who have come with the extreme dispassion from the past lives or for some other reason, that is different. But most of us really don't use our time efficiently. So, okay. And did Vijay finish reading? And now Ashwin.
Hariom. A child is subject to reprimands and beatings from his elders. His sentiments are very tender. Therefore, he encounters more painful conditions than pleasant ones. A child is easily cheated. The mother says to the child that she would give him the very moon as a toy, and the child extends his hand to catch the moon. Such is the folly of a child. A child is unable to experience heat and cold in a normal way. When suffering from the variations of temperature, he is unable to save himself from the painful condition. A child is no better than a tree or a herbal plant. The childhood days are filled with fear arising due to the elders, parents, and grown up boys. How can I find anything desirable in a child? The period of childhood abounds with ignorance and lack of discrimination. Therefore, O sage, I am desirous of renouncing the possibility of becoming a child again. I am desirous of attaining self realization.
Yeah.
So, this is just a continuation of, what all you go through, in your childhood stage. And I think, um, Lord Rama is just emphasizing that he doesn't want to become a child again because you have to go through, again, the different stages in childhood. Like when you're infant, you don't know what you're crying for. Like, you're crying, but you can't express. As you grow, your mind is wavering on so many things. Um, um, you have so many desires. You get entangled in this worldly pleasures. Again, a child is compared. Um, the child gets easily irritated, is tempted by a piece of food, um, gets so easily upset. So, looking at all this, Lord Rama is expressing that he doesn't want to become a child again. He doesn't want to go through that phase again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, Vijayji, your answer. See, when you are in that age, see, when you can yourself say, when you are a boy, then you wanted to become the teenage guy. When you are become a teenage, you wanted to become a young guy, and you get so only when you get older, then only we start looking at okay, we should have been a it's the others.
Then when you are old, you are ready to die.
Yeah. No, but no. See, that is actually only the spiritual guys or else people who, was actually tired of life. I would say otherwise they would say, oh man, I should have been a younger guy. When they say the young people, they wanted to become young.
Yeah. So we don't accept the present. If you accept the present and live in a what do you call intellectual manner, that is the best. But
Yeah,
unfortunately, we always think of the past or worry about the future and not live the present in the best manner.
true.
Just I want to read a couple of slokas from the original book. He says, again, boyhood is the abode of fear from all sides, such as from a tutor, a father, mother, elder brother, elderly boys, and from everybody besides. And he says, hence, the hopeless state of childhood, which is full of faults and errors and addicted to sports and thoughtlessness, cannot be satisfactory to anybody. So, anyway, but unfortunately, if you are going to be born, we don't have a choice. Only choice is currently we live a good, virtuous life so that even if we are reborn, so that we will enjoy the childhood and use it for spiritual growth. So, be like Vivekananda or Shankaracharya or people like that. So, okay, so we will continue. And so, who is supposed to read next? Dinesh ji, you want to read?
Yes, the evils of youth. Sri Rama continued, O sage, the stage of childhood fades with the advent of the youthful stage. Youth is the seat of manifold deeds that are evil and sinful. The innocence of childhood is no more. Instead, the mind of a young person enters into the complexities of attachment and hatred and moves from grief to grief. The mind becomes affected by desire, greed, and anger, the three gates to hell. One who is not affected by this stage of youth is indeed invincible. Read one more.
Yeah, please.
The period of youth is like a lightning flash in the dark clouds of human existence. It is short-lived. Its flashes of joys are devoured by the number of cravings and the rain of sorrow. Therefore, I do not cherish this youth that abouts with the thundering threats of inauspiciousness.
Yeah.
So, this is the age of the youth, and we have all already witnessed that, and we witness it all the time among young kids. There's really nothing new around here, but like you said earlier, it is a cycle of life. We all have to go through the childhood as well as through the youth and the young man and the old age. So it's, but I do have a comment on the earlier one. If you look at Dhruv Maharaj and then also Shri Krishna and Nijiketa, they were realized being. I mean, they manifested the qualities of the childhood, which are rare to find even among adults. So I think it depends upon the previous prarabdha, or how the person came about in this present life, and what prarabdha that person is carrying with him or her. Hari Om.
Yeah. So what he says there, the three gates to hell, like Lord Krishna says in the 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, Trividam narakasyedam dwaram nashanamaatmanah kama krodhas tatha lobha tasmad etatrayam tyajet. So Lord Rama is telling it even at his early age that is the state that one should avoid. So the book says, whosoever has passed the dreadfully enchanted coast of youth, fraught with various flavors and wonders, are said to be truly wise. We continue.
Yep. Raghav, you want me to read?
Not yet, Amma. I think Mano Amma is next, I think.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. The pleasures of youth are sweet in the beginning, but are bitter in their consequences. Ridden with youthfulness, one becomes drunk, as it were with wine. Though false, this youthfulness seems real. It is deceptive, like the pleasures of a dream. Youth seems pleasant in the absence of rational inquiry and philosophical reflection. Dominated by youthfulness, the mind is devoid of purity and simplicity. It is fickle and frivolous, maddened by passion. A young man commits acts of violence and cruelty due to the pride of youth. He sows the seeds of sorrow to be harvested during old age. When the night of passion darkens in the firmament of one's heart, it is difficult to behold the moon of discrimination. The gentle light of wisdom is fully obscured.
Yeah.
So it is clearly saying There is no rational inquiry and no philosophical reflection, no discrimination in youthfulness, devoid of purity and simplicity. The mind is not pure or simple, it always fickle and frivolous. And of course, he also added maddened by passion. So, all these things are really causing you sometimes to commit the violence and cruelty because of the pride of youth.
Yeah. Yeah. You said it right. Okay. Maya, you want to read, Amma?
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
Just as a forest fire burns trees in abundance, so the fire of passion continued to consume the forest of the human mind. And just as the rains bring water to the lakes and rivers and render the paths muddy and impure, in the same way, youth pollutes human sentiments and renders one's thoughts impure. It is easier to cross a river with tumultuous waves than to cross the restless mind of youth, filled with the waves of craving. The mind of a person is enchanted by the beauty of the opposite sex. Overpowered by the passion, it sees beauty in a perishable body. Overcome by ignorance, it expects avoiding happiness from an illusory pleasure.
Yeah.
So I have a commentary from Venkateshananda ji that he gave the lecture on in the New York University, State University. Is a little. I can read this part from this one.
Go ahead, Amma.
He says, even as the tree is consumed by the forest fire, the youth heart is consumed by the fire of lust when his beloved leaves him. However, much of he strive to develop purity of heart. The youth's heart is stained with impurity, even when his beloved is not present near him. He is distracted by the thoughts of her beauty, such as a person who is full of craving is naturally not held in high esteem by good men. And youth is the abode of diseases. I think that's next is coming.
Yeah.
That was the part I read.
Yeah. So that was the lecture on Yoga Vashishta?
Yes.
Ah, good. I'm glad you're reading from another source also. Good. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay. Padmajama, you want to read now?
Yep. I think I lost track here.
The pleasures of
Youth is
youth. The fourth paragraph in section 20.
Page
71.
71.
71, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's easier to cross river. No, not that one.
Page 70, the last one, I think. Last paragraph in page 70.
The
No,
pleasure
no.
of
Page
youth.
71.
Which paragraph of Manu Amma?
71.
Yeah, 71. Which
Yeah, the
paragraph?
last paragraph.
The youth is like a forest?
Yeah.
Okay. I started there, but then I got confused. Okay. Thank you. The youth is like a forest. Once numerous relationships such as wife, sons, friends, and dear relatives are like trees. All these grieving signs constitute the wind that blow through this forest. The serpents of pain abide in the hollows of the tree. The mind is the basis of this forest. The youth is like storm that raises a dust cloud of rajas, the principle of passion, and obscures the impressions of good deeds in the form of good association, study of scriptures, and the practice of reflection and meditation. Youth awakens and defects the mind and strikes the roots of virtues. It imbues with sinfulness, just As the moon causes a black bee to be enfolded by the enrichment of lotus, so to youth causes its intellect to be enchanted and bound to egoism.
Comment?
Yeah, so what here it says, if we take youth as a whole, there are numerous relationships as an individual they go through, and since they are not fully matured, they go through this forest with with pain because they don't know what bites them, which they're calling as serpents of pain, maybe in the hollows. They don't know where they're whatever they do is going to impact them negatively.
Right, correct.
So they just go through the flow, but they don't observe well enough to see who's around or what they're doing, how it's going to impact as consequences.
Right.
And then based on those consequences, the result is obviously painful, and youth is filled with rajas, most of it, and that also results in lack of having practice to the meditation or reflection of how their deeds are. So that's also been called out.
Yeah, because of the passions and ignorance, one doesn't follow the satsanga,
Spiritual
study of
path.
the scriptures,
Yeah.
and Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, that is said to be the most important in a human life. So we continue to, because of our passions, we continue to do sinful things, which we reap the benefit or results in our old age. So,
Yep. You want me to complete this?
I'll give it to Ratna Amma.
Okay.
Ratnaji, you want to read, Amma?
Yes. In the desert of the body, youth is a mirage. Human mind, like a deer, continues to run after this mirage, and it becomes trapped by falling into the pits of sense enjoyments. Just as wealth flees from the hand of an unfortunate person, so too this youth, like a bird, flies away in a short time. In the night of youth, the evil spirits of attachment, hatred, and other manifold maladies of the mind continue to roam and sport. A person who is proud of this short lived youth is like a dull witted animal. He becomes attached to youth only eventually to cause regret and sorrow. But there are adorable and great souls who have crossed the period of youth without falling from the ideals of non-violence, truthfulness, non-covetousness, and purity. So Sri Rama is telling here what happens to the during the time of youth in a person's life, which is it is like a mirage. Everything is actually a mirage for the youth, because he is in a dream world that he wants to get this, it wants to get that, but they want to enjoy it, the sense enjoyment especially. And then, just like the wealth flees, and the youth also, it's a short time, it's not long, but the evil spirits of attachment, hatred, and this maladies mind continues to roam and sport during the time of youth. He's almost like a dull-witted animal, because he doesn't know what he is doing. All he's interested in the sense enjoyment.
Yeah.
But he's telling there are adorable, great souls who have crossed the period of youth without falling from the ideas of non-violence. But those who are steadfast in their non-violence and truthfulness and non-covetousness, and then not hanker after someone else's wealth, but with their purity of mind, they can enjoy. But those who have crossed, there are some people in the youth, they have done it, but not all. But who are sages or gnanis, who have gone through the Vedanta a little bit in their fortunate years, learned, and they follow these ways of good habits, and they are the wise person. Hari Om.
Yeah. Go ahead and finish the next two paragraphs yourself, Amma.
Okay. O sage, it is rare to find a youth endowed with humility, as peaceful as the hermitage of a saint, and adorned with the qualities of the soul. Thus, I do not see any virtue in the period of youth, and therefore I want to rise above its allurements. I do not wish to be caught in this baneful predicament. But here Rama says, he denounces this youthfulness because it is hard. It is with the sense enjoyment. Youth, you know how it is. So he really doesn't wish to be born. Really, he is really interested in the knowledge of self-realization.
I'm surprised that though he knows that he said there are adorable and great souls who have crossed the period with ideas of non-violence, truthfulness, and non-covetousness. Okay, that he has that, and I don't know why he is depressed. That I want to pass through this youthful age with those ideals and live like that. So apparently, after the teaching, he is going to do it, and that is apparently he's talking in general about the problem of youth.
Yeah, but it is the amazing thing that is Rama has gone through all these, all his thoughts were there about the problems of the childhood or the human beings, what they are going through when they are born, and how this body and everything is immaterial. But still, look at the way after he came out of this depression, how beautifully he lived, like an example. No one has done it like Rama has done it in his life. Hari Om.
But Raghuji, see, the circumstances, the society also have a big role to make a person in that scenario, right? I think I remember, that Munikumara, right? What is that? Rishi Singha, right? I think he actually was not brought up by his father without having any interacting with the society, and he was actually literally what is that called? Sincere, or say, I would say, what is the word?
Innocence.
Innocent. And then when he touched the society, he become totally different. I mean, of course, he was a Minikumar, but that in that scenario, our society also play a role how we turn, right?
That is true, but isn't it true that also depends on my prarabdha?
Oh, of course, no, but that is how we actually, wherever we are actually born, that is depends on your prarabdha, you will born into that situation, right?
Exactly. Because of my prarabdha, I born in a particular environment, and at the same time, based on my spiritual growth from the past lives, then even in a bad environment, that one can live like a lotus in a dirty pond, and then he can come out and say, hey, in spite of all the poverty and the problems that he had in life with his drunken father or beating mother or divorced parents, that he person comes out very extremely mature, using those difficulties as a positive experience for that person, or it could be negative. So everything depends upon so many factors. So I don't think we can judge a person uh, just by
Society or
outward things. So
yeah, you're right. Yes.
very good. So we will stop here. We got only 1 more minute, and we will continue next week, right? We will be here.
When are we switching to Tuesday, Raghuji?
Say it again.
When are we switching to Tuesday? I mean,
I will see. From January, I will talk with other people if the what do you call the
Hanuman Chalisa.
Gita's that Hanuman Chalisa is over, then we will switch over.
I'm not saying. I think Padmaja is the only one who from that group, or rest of us are all here also.
Mano Naidu is in the group.
Oh,
I am too.
Maya is in the group. Quite a few are in the group. That's the reason we switched it. So.
When I joined these things, I don't know that some other thing is going to come, because